My name is Pastor Roy Rhodes. I'm the lead pastor at Abundant Life Community Church. It's in Alton, Illinois. This is my 21st year here in Panama. I'd been the district youth director prior to that, led teams all over the world, and saw the benefit of taking young people and adults into a culture so that they could learn what the heart of missions really was, experience the culture, experience the people. Missions has always been a big part of what we do, and I wanted to elevate the whole level of missions in the church. And I knew that a long-term relationship in a single place would have a great impact upon that. So I contacted a good friend, Brother Kenton Moody, who was a longtime missionary here. He'd become the international director of Convoy Hope, and asked him, Kenton, I'm looking for a place that we can travel to in a day. I'm looking for a people group that is basically unreached, a place where we can make an appreciable impact. I need a very sharp individual on the ground to coordinate things there, and I need a place that we can go to for many, many, many years. And almost instantly, he said, I know the place, and I know the people, and I know the man. He said, the people are the Nobe Bugle Indians, the place is Panama, and the man you're looking for is a man named Julio Valdez. And Pastor Julio had begun this work about 10 years prior. This was basically an unreached people group 10 years before we came. And I asked Kenton, how do I go? And he said, I'm going in a month. I'm taking a container of Convoy Hope food down. And I said, I'll buy a ticket tomorrow. And that was 22 years ago. And I bought a ticket. He and I and another gentleman, just three of us came on that first trip. We were the only Americans here. We came here, met the people, saw the incredible work that needed to be done. There were very few pastors. There was very few schools, very little education. And so I made a commitment to Pastor Julio that as long as he would host us and coordinate, we would bring people and resources, and that began what has now been a 21-year relationship.
My name is Ron Calloway Hayback. I'm a dentist, and this is my 5th year coming down to Panama providing dental care. This week we treated about 65 patients in 2.5 days, so that was pretty busy and great with only one translator. Usually we have 3 to 4, so that was a lot more than what I expected to do this year with only one translator. Probably the thing that sticks with me the most is the children when they open their mouths and they have multiple teeth that need treatment, more than what I can do in a day, and that kind of sticks with me. I wish I could do more for them. So that always, whenever I leave, that kind of hits you in the heart a little bit. So.
Hi, my name's Lisa Mathenia. This is my first time to Panama. I didn't really know what to expect. But I'm pleasantly surprised. It's kind of a different trip for me. I have been on a couple other trips, different places, but here's different. This trip has been a really different experience. My part in it, I brought down nail polish, and I thought it would be a nice treat for the girls to get their nails polished. Something to do. Thought, well, during the nail clinic, the dental clinic, we could do some nail polishing and just treat the girls, just let them have a good time, just, pampering them and loving on them. And I know that sounds kind of silly. Oh, paint nails, whip-de-doo, but, these girls don't get that down here. And for me, I just love to love on those who don't get that love. And I thought that was a great opportunity to sit and talk and tell the girls how beautiful they are. I was really overwhelmed when we went up to service for the first night. That was my moment, I think. I walked up and one of the team members with me, they asked me, they're like, come down here, let's walk around and look. So we walked down through the crowd, and I was able to see all the beautiful people that have come out, and they're worshiping the Lord all together, just hands lifted, just authentic worship. you know, someday when we're in heaven, we're all going to be together, and it's going to be a diversified group, and it's just awesome to be able to be together and to see the different cultures and the way they may have different music and they may worship, you know, dance, which we can do. I don't think we do most of the time, but they dance but they worship, and we'll all be up there worshiping together. And for me, that was an aha moment, and it really overwhelmed me. It was such a beautiful experience. I think that everyone should be able to experience that sometime in their life.
Hi, my name's Jim. I go to Abundant Life. I've been going there with my wife for approximately 7 years. This is my fifth year coming, but my 6th trip. Sometimes we have done 2 trips for construction at a school in Saloy, and I really enjoy that trip because I'm mechanical and I really like doing mechanical things. So this trip here, we've been doing photos. We've been taking pictures of all the kids and families. We wanted the families to have a photo because they don't have that opportunity here. So we brought cameras and printers, and we were able to print the pictures and give it to the families, but they really enjoyed it. I had several families that the girls, they would take the pictures, see it, and hold it against their heart, you know, the chest and whatnot, and it was really touching, and I really enjoyed seeing the, you know, faces, and really made it worthwhile. So, and then next year I'd like to do the same thing. And maybe year after year, if we could keep it going, you know, and they can have a picture of themselves, you know, year after year, and their families, and as they grow.
Guys, one of the most significant things we do here is the food distribution. I think all of you are aware of Convoy of Hope and the incredible ministry that it is. Convoy partners with us to ship a whole container. We pack it up early in the fall. It leaves us in November. Takes that long, comes by ship, gets here, it's transported by truck, and it's here waiting on us when we come. We spend a whole evening with the whole team, joined with dozens of Panamanians. We break that down into portions. This year, about 1,800 families, somewhere in the neighborhood of 4,000 to 5,000 people, but about 1,800 portions. So we do the math, and we break everything down into 1,800 portions. And then yesterday, in the afternoon, they line up, and the line extends for a half a mile. It's a multi-hour process where they come through rice, beans, food packs, hygiene items, baby diapers, what they call a crema, which is a cream of wheat for children, paper towels, books, Bibles. To be honest, anything we can put our hands on that will be a blessing to this people. They are very poor people, and for many of them to make this trip is a hardship. So through your giving, we not only feed them all week, we buy a half a ton of rice and a half a ton of beans, and we feed them during the week. They've set up a large kitchen, but then also in the distribution, we give them enough food for about 2 weeks. Many of them walk 4 or 5 days to get here. So that distribution makes it possible for them to come to this conference where there's great ministry, great teaching, there's a medical clinic, there's a dental clinic. They couldn't come without that distribution. And the people so look forward to it. It is a great blessing to them. For many of them, it's the most food that they'll have at one time all year. So thank you so much for your participation in the distribution. When you give to Convoy of Hope through One Day to Feed the World, and when you give so team members can come on this trip, you make that distribution possible. It's a powerful part of what we do.
Hi, my name is David Anderson. I am the children's pastor of Abundant Life Church in Alton, Illinois, and this is my 10th trip here to Panama to do this mission trip with our team. My very first time here in Panama, my very first trip 10 years ago, I did not want to come. Had no desire to be here. Really was the guy that never desired to go on a missions trip. I felt like it was my place to give you $40 or $50 so other people could go on trips. Had never been in a place like this. Honestly, I had some fear. I didn't know what to expect with the indigenous people here, and went on the trip, and it literally changed who I was. Before the trip, I don't think I really appreciated the life I had, the things I had. That was the first thing that I feel like it changed who I was. I suddenly had a much greater appreciation for the life that God had given me. The second big change that happened for me was before that time I was quite comfortable as a Christian and the life I had as a Christian. But coming here and spending time with these people who, again, have nothing, and to be able to give to them and to see them receive the little that I had, and it being a great blessing to them, I suddenly found what I now feel like was missing with my Christianity before that. I was quite comfortable in kind of focusing on me and my relationship with God. After that trip, suddenly I wanted to give more and be used by God more to touch people's lives and to meet their needs where they were. So the ministry, the things that I did here, I started finding ways to do them at home, and I feel like my Christianity grew, my relationship with Christ grew. I began trying to find ways to be used by Him in more deeper, impactful ways. And through that process, over the years of coming here, my priorities have changed in my life and in my faith. For years, I worked in the retail industry, and I felt God calling me out of that and into full-time ministry. And I don't think that would have happened if I'd never experienced Panama.
Our church has we've been coming for 11 years. So there were 6 years that I never came, and they would try to tell me about it, and I just didn't get it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great. You know, I've been on mission trips before, and so I kind of understood what they were saying, but it's still, you can't put to words the impact it has on you as a person, and also just there's I can't tell you how often, at least once a day, I feel like the Lord lets me see us through His eyes. You know, the need, the love, how much we depend on Him, and that's you can't put a price on that at all. Just that blessing to be able to see how God sees us. So
I feel like missions is the gospel in action. It's God's hands and feet. We're doing the work. Jesus said to go. And I know that some people aren't able to go. I know that they feel like they can give, and I think that's awesome. You should give, because it does help missionaries around the world. And it helps people like these people down here.
Our people recognize that missions isn't just some organization. It isn't just some pledge they make, some check they write. These are real people with real lives that don't know Jesus. And it just has brought such a wealth of impact upon our church. So it's the impact that it brings to us. Also, there's the personal impact to the people that come on this trip. You don't come down here and spend a week and then go back home and be the same. When you come here and you see how these people live, how simplistically they live, how much we take for granted, it reorients your whole. It just recalibrates everything about you for the whole year. You become thankful. You become patient. Things take on a much less important role in your life, and you begin to recognize the things that really matter. We've also seen this culture change. Theologically, 20 years ago, the whole dynamic of the family was different. Women were seen more like property. Children weren't valued. They were, but not like we see now. Women walked behind the men. Men never did anything with the children. Young men it's just a total change. Now we see young couples walking together with a young man carrying the baby. We see him honoring his wife. Polygamy was common when we first started coming. We see very little of that. When we first started coming, there were witch doctors, they were animists, there was a lot of demonic activity. We see much less of that, and the whole culture has been changed, not just because of us, there are other organizations as well, but the impact of the gospel has lifted this whole culture. And so the impact has not been only for us, but it's been on this place, and being a part of that, getting to be a part of watching a whole culture of people be impacted by the gospel, I'll never be the same. Our teams will never be the same. It's personal. It's not organizational anymore. We've been a part of what God's doing to bring the gospel to a people, and it has elevated their life and it's elevated our life.
You know, every time that we've been here, there are always just several children that come running and want to spend time with us, want to spend time in our camp. And the first year we came, we sort of adopted a family that we just got to know over the years that always spend time in our camp. Now keep in mind, I've been here 10 times, 10 years. So when we first started coming, the children were very small. So we've watched them grow. And this family, again, they're very, very poor. There are, I believe, 6 or 8 siblings in the family. About 4 of them have just a terrible skin condition that causes scabs to appear. They itch a lot. They've got a lot of scarring. They look like they've been through some terrible fire, but it's not that. It's the skin condition that they deal with. They have no access to real medical care here, so it's just something they deal with every day, with no way to ease the itching or ease the scabbing, and they just have a very special place in our heart. We try to help the family every year that we can. Lord, I believe,
Señor, yo creo
Lord, that you have a plan and a purpose for this family.
que tú tienes un plan y un propósito para esta familia.
Father, I ask that your Holy Spirit
Padre, yo te pido que tu Espíritu Santo
would speak to them
les hable
and guide them
y los guíe
and show them the way
y les demuestre el camino,
to your love, Father,
el camino que los lleva a tu amor
and to your blessings, Father.
y a tus bendiciones.
These aren't strangers. These are people who we know. We know hundreds of individuals. We know their names. We've over 21 years, we've watched kids grow up, get married, have kids every year. I don't know how many of them call me their father and or their grandfather, and that relational aspect of it is just tremendous. We also have 2 schools that we sponsor. The difference in the sponsorship is such it elevates that so much, because people don't just sponsor a picture of a child that is somewhere that they'll never know. We know these children. They sponsor a child whose picture and a pledge form goes on their refrigerator, and then they come and they meet that child.
I keep coming back because once you meet these people, you just fall in love with them. They're so sweet. They're so have such a heart for God.
I wish that, other members of the church could come and experience this. We have plenty of room for everybody to come and enjoy. The children, help out. Everybody thinks, well, what am I going to do? There's plenty of jobs to do. There's plenty of kids to play with. Every year, just a different group of people come just to experience it, at least just for one time. The families that you support, with our giving, to the families that we support through our sponsorship, you get to come and meet those kids a lot of times and get to see them and physically, hold them and, talk to them and, give them things, give them presents and whatnot. So, we'd love for, to come and join us and participate sometime. So.
It's about sacrifice. It's about giving of yourself, putting yourself out there where it's uncomfortable, because it's not about you anymore. It's about others. It's about going into all the world and preaching, loving, giving, whatever is in your hands, A lot of people are like, well, I can't do this, I can't do that, but that's not what it's about. It's about just that sacrifice of saying, I will go and I will give whatever I can give, whatever I have, I give to you, Lord. Use it for your glory.
Another very significant part of what we do is the baptism. In fact, while I'm filming this, the baptism is just about an hour away. Last year we baptized 125 people. This year I think the number's over 150. Baptism here is a phenomenally important part of their spiritual experience. The individuals that are baptized go through a whole year of classes before they're baptized. It's a very significant step in the proclamation of their having accepted Christ. It is, as the Bible proclaims it to be, for them it is a very public profession of their faith, and it's done very much like the biblical baptism. There's a river just to my right here, the river that we use all week. And in that river, we'll go down, there'll be 5 or 6 of us, there'll be pastors and missionaries, and they'll line up, there'll be music playing. It is a tremendously moving experience. Many of them are crying when they walk out into the water. Many times when we immerse them in the river and they come back up, they are so overwhelmed with emotion that they have to be helped out of the water. It's something that they put a lot of preparation into. It is taught to them as a significant part of their testimony, of their discipleship, and their decision to follow Christ. And it is a very public proclamation. There'll be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of their friends and their family and their neighbors lining the banks of the river. It's a very public proclamation of their decision to accept and follow Christ. It's the culmination of our week here. The baptism is the last thing that we do before we leave. In fact, we've already packed up all of our camp. We wait every year just for the baptism.
I don't know what the future holds for me and in our ministry here in Panama. This trip has changed so much over the 10 years. The work we used to do was much smaller, and every year it grows, and we do more, and our roles change. And I'm at a place where I feel like we need to start working on things that are more sustainable while we're not here. We need to find ways to equip the indigenous people, and not only that, the Panamanians that are here all the time. If while we're here, for the week we're here, if we could teach them how to minister effectively, if we could teach them ways to take better care of themselves, if we could find ways to build things that would still be in operation while we're gone, I think that's the next step for us. To not just be a huge blessing for 1 week, but to be a continual blessing throughout the year. So that would be my prayer, my hope, is that God would continue to equip our team and show us how to be more effective while we're here, to leave a legacy behind. I'm getting older. At some point, I won't physically be able to do this. I'm praying God will equip younger people to come in behind us and continue to do our work. But not only that there would be work that happens while we're not here throughout the year, and continue to be a blessing to these people that are so dear to us.
I think as the future stretches out in front of us, we'll continue to provide the medical and the dental teams through our church and through the cooperation of other churches. Those are resources that they really don't have available to them on any sort of close basis. I'd just like to encourage those that don't participate in missions, whether it be through giving or actually coming on a trip. First of all, consider coming on a trip. It is a little harder than some missions trip. We don't stay in a hotel. We camp. We cook our food here. But there's a real richness to that. We wouldn't have the relationships that we have had we not done that. We're right here, and it opens doors. We have a voice that others don't have because of that, just the connection it makes with the people. They're sleeping on the ground, so are we. They bathe in the river, so do we. So I want to encourage you to come on a trip, come be changed by it. And if you can't do that, not everyone can come. Support missions. Make a monthly pledge, even if it's only $5, if it's only $10, if it's only a small pledge. There are people just like these all over the world that don't know Jesus yet. And your missions pledge is such a powerful thing. Missionaries all over the world will take what you give, it'll be added to what others give, and in places just like this, with people just like these that don't know Jesus. It's not just organizational, it's personal. Well, the scripture is very clear. How can they go? How can they know unless somebody tell them? How can they be told unless somebody comes? And how can they go and tell them unless somebody send them? And while you may not be a missionary that's going, you can help send someone who is willing to give up their life and come and serve in a country like this and present the gospel. So give, go, engage in missions. I don't think there's anything that we do that's more important than that.